Hey everybody, welcome back to a new episode from Carl's Cycle Supply. Today we're going over this beautiful 1944 Harley Davidson E Model. Hit the like, subscribe, and comment and share if you love old motorcycles just like us.
Okay, hey everybody, I am here to tell you about this awesome 1944 Harley Davidson EL that we just finished restoring for a friend in Wyoming. This is an absolute treat. These bikes are so rare, so hard to find. I think we've only done one other 44 in the time that we've been in business. They're very hard to find, very rare. About this bike, we found a 1944 bottom end in Florida. I found it on Instagram, which was so cool. You always wonder about buying stuff online. There's a lot of scammers. I called the guy up, he checked out, he was legit. He found it down somewhere in Florida. We got the motor, we had a chassis, and we found all the missing parts. We found the absolute best stuff. It's got a new old stock dash, an original face Speedo, which has a little bit of wear on it, but I think it's really cool when you can use these rather than having the restored or reproduction ones. The headlights new old stock, the grips are new old stock. These are war production board grips. Because of the war sanctions, rubber was at a very high value. You know, they were using it for army vehicles and trying to mix it and make different blends. The tires would have had a S3 on them, and that stood for synthetic rubber. You see it on Jeeps, you see it on bikes, you see it on cars, everything. Synthetic rubber. So maybe they mix it with more nylon or something, but they're like, we're not going to waste any of our supplies on handlebar grips for civilian bikes. We could make something to go beat the enemy with it. So consequently, these grips came out in 43. The war was over with in 45, but they had made so many that they were actually used until early 47. They had black grips, which were standard. They had red, yellow, and blue. And in 45, when they came out with the soap kicker pedal, the injection molded plastic one, they had red pedals too. So even though it was like war sanctions and weird stuff, they still did some cool special things. The footboard mats are made out of metal. The kicker pedal has these steel spools, which are really cool. They're actually 3 pieces. This is tubing, and then they have these little machined ends that go in. These are NOS, very hard to find. The oil pump and lifter blocks are painted with white paint instead of silver. There's hardly any chrome on this because chrome is something that wasn't necessary. You didn't need a flashy bike. You were just trying to conserve every material possible to put it into ammunition or vehicles to fight in the World War. So if you step back and look at this, the only shiny parts on it are the ride control plates, which are made out of stainless steel, the emblems, which are chrome plated brass, and then the rocker arm nuts, which are chrome plated steel. In my opinion, these emblems and the rocker nuts were just leftover stuff that they had in inventory, and they didn't want to switch it out. They're just like, well, let's use it. You know, the horn cover's black, the headlight ring's black, the rims are black, there's no front fender light, the air cleaner's black, just the whole thing. It's what the new bike guys nowadays would call murdered out. It's as cool as it gets. It's a 28-degree frame. This is the last year of the sweated frames. What that means is that this junction down here is sweat brazed. The motor transmission mount is sweat brazed. The sidecar loops are sweat brazed together. 44 was the first year for welded forks. When I say welded forks, I'm talking about this perch right here is welded on instead of sweat brazed, and then the handlebars being welded on. Something else that's cool, the handlebar spirals are painted black. On a normal earlier or later civilian bike, they're chrome plated. The horn button and dimmer switch are painted black. The brake lever is made out of cast iron instead of aluminum. So there's all these cool details that just really make a wartime bike a wartime bike. And a lot of the stuff's really hard to find. Some of it's a little bit easier because of you know, all the WLAs and army bikes that they made. So like a WLA would have the same brake handle. Something else that's really cool, I previously mentioned this is a NOS dash cover. The lenses are new old stock as well. And and they have little blackout lenses in them. Blackout lenses are kind of an army thing, and I think they would have been used on civilian bikes too. Instead of the whole light lighting up, generator oil, they just have a little 1/8" circle that'll light up. So here is the downside of the 44. It looks just as good and awesome as the upside. Some of the cool stuff for wartime knuckleheads are the black gas caps, black shift gate, black shift arm, the flat side clutch pedal. This was used until early 46. This has a grease zerk right here. They used a different type of bushing. And Parkerized manifold, Parkerized speedo cable, black derby cover, black inspection cover. It's just really a cool bike. At first you think, oh no, it's going to be all blacked out, there won't be any definition or contrast, but you know, you really just rely on the natural beauty of all the parts that the original designers made, and then you get to enjoy how they look all together. So chrome plated emblems that were left over. A lot of people, when they do 44s, and we're guilty of this too, we did one maybe 20 years ago, we put painted steel emblems on, and I don't think the painted steel emblems came out till 46. They have a dash 45 part number. They had gray, they had black, they had blue, and then in 46 they had cream. It still has the stainless steel strips front and back. The screws right here, I painted them black because I have a friend in Ohio with an original paint 44, and his are painted black, which really seemed like the wrong thing to do, but his bike is 10 out of 10 awesome. If you look at the fenders, you can see that there's no side trim on them like the Dash 39. They were never drilled for side trim. That was just kind of an excess thing, and because of the war effort, it just got put on hold. These 3 screws are for a buddy seat clip. These are in every stock fender. The dipstick is Parkerized. The wiring flags are the copper flags that came out in mid-39 and were used through 45. This has a NOS wiring harness. It's all the cloth on copper wire instead of the cloth on rubber on copper wire. It's as cool as it gets. I really love this bike. I would love to do as many of them as I can, but they're so rare, so it's really a special treat to get to put in the effort and make them perfect. So okay, well, here's the walkthrough on the 44. Beautiful original front fender. We take these all apart. We remove the braces, take all the rivets out. We have like 3 guys we work with, and they'll straighten everything out and get them to where they're just absolutely perfect. And then they send them to us, and first we fit the fender to the frame or the fork. Then we straighten out the braces and then fit it all together and then put it back together. But you can see how beautiful the definition is on the crown. The rivets are just perfect. You know, as soon as you run into something with one of these, the inertia will just transfer through here, and then this gets all messed up and sunk down. And here's the horn. This is always a beautiful detailed shot. You can see the 42 to 45 lower horn bracket. The horn mounts behind it. It has those little number 10 flat washers. This is the 42 to 45 terminal board. The top bolts are special. They've got 2 nuts on them. You can see it right there. One holds the horn on, and then the terminal board goes right behind it. Beautiful NOS wire with just the thin little wires coming out. One's for the horn, and the other one's for headlight power. The NOS headlight, it's as good as it gets. The mud flap is made out of leather rather than being that laminated canvas one like what was used 36 to 42 and sometime in 46 or 7 and later. So it's really cool. This is the correct screws. It's 2 1224 Philister head screws in the center, and then 2 1024 round head screws on the outside. And the reason the center ones are bigger is for a front stand clip. It's very popular on export bikes to have a front stand, but not necessarily on American bikes. Beautiful original sidecar loops have never been chopped on or chopperized. Beautiful pattern numbers. Beautiful neck. Look at the way the dash fits. It's worth the effort. Sometimes we have to spend days on that. This one didn't take hardly anything. The seat was done by our friends in Florida. You have an NOS seat that they match the color to. It just looks beautiful. Oil lines, they're kind of like tin plated. And then the nuts are Parkerized. It's a wartime thing. The vent line always goes on the outside. The return line goes on the inside fitting. And the feed line goes where it always goes. Beautiful original toolbox, crash bars, the rear fender. We talked about fitting the front fender. That's pretty easy compared to doing the back one. The back one, you got to get this hinge to line up perfect and the overlaps to fit just right. So if you look at this, it's just insane. If we recorded the hours it takes to get that just right, you guys wouldn't watch it. You'd change the channel. These are beautiful original hubs, original spokes, original rims, just all the nicest stuff. So here's the license plate bracket. It says Harley and Davidson on the back. Then it says Harley Davidson right here, which is pretty cool. Got glass lenses. The red lens says Harley, the other one doesn't. This is all really nice stuff. This is the rear brake. They put the sprocket and dust ring on and then painted the whole assembly. This bolt has 2 washers on it from 36, and the reason they did the 2 washers was if you wanted to put a rear rack on the bike, like a military one or one of the early tubular one, you would take out one of those washers, put the rack on, and then tighten it up. The wiring is just perfect. The fins are perfect. Original cylinders, manifold, everything. On wartime cases, you can see they have a relief right here, and that's on 42 into sometime in 46, and it just gets less defined and less defined. And another cool feature is you can see how the case kicks in right here. Like a 47 case is not like that. So the motor mounts have no markings on the heads. Jam nut on the pivot bolt and a jam nut on the back side. You can see how the wires are routed for the generator, and it's all perfect. The timer cable clip is bent at an angle rather than being parallel with the tube that it clamps around. Original Dockaware knob, original gas caps. It's so fun when we get to do them to this level. The owner's a very good friend, and I know he appreciates quality. It's fun to get to go wild. So, brake handle. Still got a thin slot in here. It was like this until 48. You can see the handlebar lock plates painted black. The steering dampener lever's black. I think 44 is the first year of the new style. Mid 36 to 43 don't have as much curve on top. They're kind of straight. There's that beautiful original Speedo face. There you have it.
Thanks for watching, folks. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe if you loved this video and would love to follow along on our next antique motorcycle videos that feature our restorations, adventures, and all the fun we get to have on 2 wheels. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the road.